Hi, everybody. I'm Trisha Trink, and I'm from therapy. And I'm here today to talk to you about some of the things I'm starting to observe around the campus as people are staying more in their rooms, but they're getting out a little bit here and there. And one of the things I'm really noticing is people are doing more things like lifting because you may be organizing your closets, you may be reaching into closets, you may be moving furniture around because you've been sitting there staring at your chair that you've been wanting to move. And people are starting to do this sort of thing and not necessarily paying attention to how you're doing these things. So your back might start to bother you a little bit more. You might start to out with just a little twinge, or you might not notice it when you're lifting these things, but then the next day you wake up, or 2 days later you wake up, and all of a sudden you're noticing, I've got some more stiffness in my back. My knees are starting to hurt a little bit more. What? I haven't been doing anything. There's not any exercise classes unless I tune into Channel 900 and watch Caroline and Steve, which you should be doing if you're not already. But in the meantime, there's going to be what I'm going to be doing is showing you some ways to properly lift, to reach into your cabinets if you're going to reorganize certain things, how to sit without aggravating your back, these sorts of things. And even in the garden, as I'm up in room 211B doing our therapy, I'm able to kind of look out and sort of see what's going on out in the world that way. And I'm noticing more people are in their gardens, and you may be bending over and aggravating your back doing that sort of thing too. So we're going to talk about how to give you some helpful reminders to keep these problems from occurring. So the first thing that we're going to talk about with lifting is very important. This is a very important tip. And that is whenever you go to lift anything, whatever it is, you want to keep it as close into your body as you possibly can. So whether it's you're getting some groceries that someone's left for you outside of your door, you're picking up a box that you've had sitting there forever that you've just decided, oh, it's time I finally take this stuff out of here and put it away. It's how we lift that is super important. So when we keep things in close to our body, that's much less stress on our back. So if I've got 10 pounds worth of groceries or a 10-pound box or a 10-pound gallon of water, it's 10 pounds when I keep it in close to my body as it refers back to my back. If I hold that weight out here, or I go to grab that gallon of water that's on the floor, and I bend straight over and I reach out to get it instead of getting up close to it, that now becomes 100 pounds of pressure on my back. And that's something we don't want, because that's how we can strain our backs. We can end up with disc problems. If we've got any arthritis at all, we can irritate, aggravate, that sort of thing. And that's the kind of thing we don't want to do. So this box right here, as you can see, I think I marked that right, this 10-pound box, which is about what it is, because it does have stuff in it. I brought this straight from the therapy center, and there's some things in it. I don't know if it's exactly 10 pounds, but let's just kind of for grin say it is. Now, notice how I got down to get this box, okay? I squatted down with my knees. I kept my back straight. I'm keeping a little bit of a curve, which is our normal curve in my low back, so that I'm using my legs and my core muscles. I'm taking in a nice deep breath through my nose. As I exhale, I'm going to reach up under the box and make sure that it's okay for me to lift. If it's too heavy, don't lift it. You can call maintenance, or somebody that is downstairs can refer you to the right people if you do need to do some lifting things. Please don't lift anything that you can't handle, okay? I can't stress that enough. But let's say you can handle this 10-pound box. See how nicely close and the wide base that I've allowed myself, so I'm nice and steady. I'm going to lift it up to here, bring it in close to my body, push up with my legs, okay? And now I'm going to walk over to the table and set it down. The tendency might be that I reach over and put it down like that. If I do that, chances are I'm going to strain my back. I might not feel it now, but a day or two down the road, I'm going to be hurting and aching, and I'm going to go reach for that whatever, Tylenol, ibuprofen, which, that stuff's not good for our bodies either. So now I'm going to walk over to the body, keeping it in close, and set it down on the table, okay? So that's a nice, safe way to make sure that we're not aggravating or injuring our back, okay? So again, one of the things that's super important, it's getting the weight in close to our body. It's using our squat technique to go down to lift it, keep it in close, push up with my legs. I'm going to walk and turn. I am not going to twist my back, and I don't even want to do that to demonstrate it because I don't want to aggravate my back. I want to stay nice and healthy for you guys. So don't twist and turn. Take small steps, keeping the weight in close to your body, setting it down on the table, okay? So that goes for even moving things in your kitchen. So once again, let's say you've had some groceries delivered, okay? So you've got that gallon of milk, or you've got a couple of things that start to add up to maybe 5 pounds or whatever it is, and you want to go from counter to counter. You want to get it from the floor outside of your apartment, lift it up, take some more trips instead of trying to get it all up at one time. And then as I go from counter to counter, again, in close to my body, because let's say it's on the kitchen counter, but it's got to go in the cabinets on the other side. I'm going to take and I'm going to turn, I'm going to walk there, I'm going to set it down, okay? Now, how am I going to get those things safely into the cabinets? That's the other thing that I've noticed, that a lot of people are coming to me and saying things like, oh, I aggravated my shoulder, or I aggravated my neck. I'm more dizzy lately. And I'm saying, well, what kind of things are you doing? Oh, with being home so much now, I've decided to kind of reorganize my closets or my spice rack or something along those lines that I have to reach and get up to. So a lot of people, unfortunately, are just getting up on their toes and reaching up for something. Number one, this is very dangerous. We don't want anyone to fall. We can't stress that enough. So my favorite go-to thing is a step stool, but one that is sturdy. This one is one we use up in therapy for people to get up and down from the tables, and that's one of the reasons I love it. It's got a handle, okay? It's a nice, sturdy metal stool that you can carry from room to room, and you can use to get into your cabinets in the kitchen. You can use the ones to get your cabinets in the bedroom, wherever it may be that you need to reach. Or if you've got a laundry room, within your apartment, you can reach up and get the things that you might have up in a cabinet, like your laundry soap and that sort of thing. So again, it's important that we get in close to this and we step up. And this way, this enables us to get right to that cabinet level. And we want to hold on to something, and that's why this handle is so important, okay? So we can reach in and safely root through our cabinets, our closets, whatever it may be. But we've got our handle right here, so that way when I go to step down, I can hold on to the handle, step down with one step, and step back, okay? Now, I actually did research, and I looked these up on Amazon, and right now, as of yesterday, they were $41 on Amazon with free delivery if you have an Amazon membership. But I'm sure if you research it more, you could probably find some other good deals too. But I am a fan of having stools with these nice handles with them. So this is something that you want to keep in mind for safe reaching, because one of the things that happens is if we just reach up, we can pinch our shoulders, and especially if we go to reach for something. And again, you want to get up and close to it. If I'm reaching out like that, I'm straightening my back, my shoulder, my neck, okay? I want to do everything in good posture, good alignment, so I can get right up to it. I can see in my cabinets now I'm just not reaching blindly and pulling something off the shelf that may be too heavy and go flying back. I whip my neck back, and I get sort of a whiplash sort of thing going. But the other thing that I've had people come to me complaining about is when they are reaching up like this for long periods of time, next thing you know, they're getting dizzy. That really scares me, because what's happening when I hold my neck like this for a period of time, I can be compressing some arteries and nerves that can cause that dizzy sensation. I've cut off the blood supply to my head, and I can get some dizziness going on. And if you have a tendency to have any inner ear issues, sometimes that may be what's happening. Other things may be causing it, such as pinching on a nerve from your neck if you've got some arthritis in your neck. And the worst thing I want to hear is that somebody's up here reaching way back and looking way back into that cabinet, gets dizzy, and then there's a fall. We don't want that to happen. So please, again, pay attention to what you're doing. Slow down. I've also witnessed people getting in a hurry to try to find something or reach for something, and that's when we can get some of these dizziness issues too. So slow down, breathe. Remember, there's not many places we have to be right now, so we can take our time. This is a perfect time to practice taking our time, slowing down, breathing, getting at a nice even pace. There's no reason for us to rush to do anything right now, okay? So that's really important, because we find that most of the injuries that occur happen because someone moved too quickly for one reason or another. They aggravated a joint, they aggravated their back, They fell, okay, because you didn't pay attention to the fact you were moving so fast that you tripped over a rug or a curb or something that you didn't see because you were rushing that was on the floor. And pets as well. How often does the cat or the dog run up underneath because they see you rushing and they see you anxious about something and they get right up underneath of your feet. So we don't want you tripping on them as well either. So that could be disastrous for everybody. Okay, so we've looked at keeping it close. We've talked about reaching and using a step stool. Now, the other thing that can be a problem with getting some injuries is how we use our washer and dryer and how we get the clothes in and out of our washer dryer. So again, if we've got a laundry basket that we're picking up off the floor, especially, and we oftentimes think, oh, well, it's not, it's just a laundry basket. It's not really heavy. There's not much in it. I'm not going to hurt my back. Well, again, repetitive stress on our back, doing things incorrectly, can cause pain and problems. So again, if I've got a laundry basket, we're going to pretend this is my laundry basket. Usually I have handles, so I can hold on to those handles, but I want to keep it in close to my body. So if I have to put it down on the floor because I've got a front loader to load the laundry in, then again, I want to squat down and I want to get right close into that washing machine. What I don't want to do is stand up from here and bend and reach forward. And again, I'm not actually going to do that because I don't want to hurt my back. I have to stay strong and healthy for you guys. So I'm going to make sure I get right down up close and personal to that washer dryer, okay? Whether I'm going to put stuff in or take stuff out. And while it's just as important to do it both ways, whether you're taking stuff in, putting it in, taking it out, when you're taking stuff out, remember it's wet, so it's heavier. And I don't know about you guys, but my stuff always gets tangled all up, and so you go to yank on it, okay? Again, avoid yanking, because that yanking can do two things. Strain your neck, back, and shoulder. It can also throw you backwards, okay? And there's another fall. We're doing everything we possibly can to prevent having any falls, okay? So now let's say you've got a top loader, okay? That's a little different story. So I'm going to bring my box back up again, and notice I'm keeping it in close to my body, pushing up with my legs, okay, and taking it over here. Now let's say you go to lift that laundry basket and you put a little too much in it. Take some stuff out. Again, we have time now. There's no rush. We can run 2 or 3 loads of laundry a day, or however much you need to run. So let's say this is my top load washing machine right here, okay? So let's say I just needed to do a few whites today. I didn't really have all that much. So my load is done, and now I'm going to put it in the dryer. So I go to reach in my top loader, right? And because I didn't have much in it, my whites are way down in the bottom. Okay, so instead of bending straight over to reach into them, because when I do that, I'm going to strain my back again. I'm going to do what we call a golfer's lift, okay? And that's where, if you don't play golf, those of you that do, you know what I'm talking about. It's where you stick one leg out, and notice how one hand is on the washing machine. My other hand is going down because now I have more trunk range of motion because I've put my leg out, and I can reach down and get the things in the bottom without straining my back, okay? And the same with the dryer. You can go to get your things out of the dryer with doing that golfer's lift, and it's nice because you've got the support of the washer dryer right there too. So that gives you that added. Now let's say you're even shorter. I'm short, so it's very hard for me sometimes. And where did my little step stool go? Here it is. So again, I actually do often keep a step stool by my washer dryer because I have in the past lived in Florida where we get flooding. So we actually have our washer dryer up on a platform. So I have to have a step stool that I step up on to get in. So if you're too short, even with doing a golfer's lift, get a step stool and put that by your washer dryer. So that's another good use for that step stool because, again, we don't want any injuries. So let's move on. Oops. Okay. So some of the things that we also can have problems with our backs is when we're standing for any length of time. So one of the ways that we can help to take that pressure off, because I know some of you are doing some more dishes than you're used to doing because you're not getting your meals downstairs anymore and they're being brought to you, and you're washing out the containers, which is a great way to recycle. So you may be standing at the kitchen longer. You may be making more food than you're used to, so you're chopping things up and that sort of thing. So how do you take the pressure off of your back when you have to stand for long periods of time? Well, what I like to do is open up my cabinet door that's usually up underneath of my sink. So you open up that door. Now this is a little higher than most of those steps, but then that creates that little ledge that's right up underneath of your sink, and you can prop your foot up, do your dishes, and you've got that pressure up off your back. Anytime we prop a foot up, if we're going to have to stand for any length of time, and you'll notice that if you come to therapy and I'm standing talking to you, I usually have my foot propped up on this stool or anywhere else I can find to prop a foot up on, because once I do that, that helps to open up these spaces between the vertebrae so that there's not that increased pressure on my back. So anytime I have to stand for more than 5 or 10 minutes at a time, this is a really nice way to do that. I even do it in the morning when I'm brushing my teeth, because otherwise, what am I doing? I'm bending straight over brushing my teeth, okay? And that's a lot of strain on that back. If I open up my cabinet door, I prop my foot up, now I'm brushing my teeth, I'm standing up, taking the pressure off that low back area. Very, very important, okay? So that's that sort of thing as far as standing is concerned. Now, what about when we're sitting, our posture? We've been talking about this for quite a bit now too. Last week, Rhonda and Yvonne did a talk on posture, and that sort of segues into what I want to talk a little bit about here, because one of the problems I've also been hearing, a lot of our residents are doing great things with making masks for everybody now, for all over. I'm hearing they're making them for doctors and nurses and hospitals, and and I know a lot of our residents have been in for everybody here, for residents here and this sort of thing. But the problem is everybody's sitting sewing now, and they're sitting for hours at a time, and I'm hearing complaints of back pain, okay? So again, we follow a 20-minute rule, okay? Never sit for more than 20 minutes. I don't care if you're watching TV, I don't care if you're sewing, I don't care if you're sitting on the computer, any of that. You need to get up and take that pressure off your back, because the more we sit, the more compression that we put on our back, and we put pressure on those joint spaces, which is where the nerves come out, and that is going to cause us pain, and our back muscles will go into spasm, and then we end up with more and more problems. So you don't have to get up and leave where you're at. You just need to get up and shake things out a little bit and get some circulation to those muscles, and to the joints. Sorry about that. Got a little overzealous there. Okay, so that's part of the problem that we want to do. We want to make sure that we are able to get up, get some circulation to our muscles. So don't sit for more than 20 minutes at a time. So whether it's at the TV, whether it's at your computer, whether it's at your sewing machine. And in all of these cases, please make sure you have a good chair and what you're working on is at a good height. Because if you're bending over for whatever reason, and I know that's hard with sewing, so make sure when you're sewing, you're getting up as close to your table as you can possibly get. Don't be sitting away and pushing like that with your material, because that's going to cause that added pressure on your low back. Try to get yourself as close as you can, and if you need to sit up on a cushion because your chair's too low and you're having to reach up and over, that's another area of strain. So, but also taking those 20-minute breaks are going to make a huge difference. Okay, so now here's another thing. As I had mentioned before, I'm really noticed people getting out in their gardens more, which is that time of year, and that's great. And I think people are also using this time to spend more time in their gardens. And I know there's that beautiful garden patch for people to grow their vegetables and that sort of thing. But what I'm seeing when I'm looking out the window or I'm taking walks with residents around the community is people, again, using body mechanics is going to aggravate their backs. So I want to really stress this as to how we are doing our gardening. So here's my little garden patch right here with my beautiful little Hawaiian flowers, okay? So what I'm seeing literally as I look out the window or I walk around the community is people bending straight over. And I'm only going this far because I don't want to strain my back. But I have seen so many people bending straight down and pulling weeds, tending to their garden, mulching, that sort of thing. So what I want you to do, again, is squat down and get right down here. And it's much easier to pick my weeds, to tend my garden, to do any little, close watering that I need to do, and to take care of my garden. Now let's say I have to sit here for a little bit longer period of time because I'm planting some new some new plants that someone gave me some cuttings of, and I just sprouted them, and it's time to plant these suckers, so I got to get them in the ground. So again, because I'm going to be doing a little digging and that sort of thing, I'm going to get my stool out, okay? So whether it's the step stool that you just got on Amazon, and that you're sitting here because you have a nice handle and it helps you get up and down from down in your garden, or you have one of those nice little garden stools that has a handle on it for you to be able to push up and down from. There are some garden stools that you can kneel on if you have some good padding. Again, I know that some of you have some knee issues too, so be careful. Make sure you have good padding if you are doing any kind of kneeling workout in your garden. So this way, this lets me get right in close to my garden. And again, the closer I get, the better, and the less I have to strain and put tension or stress on my back, okay? And that way, too, then when I go to stand up, I just have to put one foot behind me, one foot in front, push up, and now I have a nice, wide, safe base of support for me to be able to do my standing after I've gardened. Because, again, 20-minute rule. I don't want you sitting down working on your garden for more than 20 minutes at a time. You need to stand up, shake it out, move it all about, okay? So you get that circulation and you get going. You can even stand there and march in place a little bit, get some more circulation going to your body. Okay, so that's gardening, no bending over. We want to keep flowering just like our flowers do. We want to have to be in bed watching our flowers flourish. And for the last thing that I want to mention to everybody, I'm also realizing that because people aren't in exercise class like they would be with Caroline, or they're not in the pool where you're talking to people, you're seeing people walking around, and in the gym area, people are exercising in their rooms, which is great because you're watching Channel 900, and I love that. But please, please keep your water bottle there, okay? I'm realizing that a lot of people are not hydrating. As I'm getting around and I'm talking to residents, because we are seeing some residents in their rooms, I am finding that as I'm exercising with them and doing their therapy, they're cramping. And they're saying, oh, I've got to stop that. I just cramped. I'm cramping. And I'm like, how much water have you drunk today? And they're like, water? Well, I had a few sips of coffee this morning, and it's now 11:30, and all they've had is a few sips of coffee. That's going to cause some cramping issues. Cramping is usually because we're dehydrated. I want you to keep a 64 ounce of water in your mind that you're going to be drinking a day. Some people have nice jugs that have 64 ounces that you can fill that up in the morning, and by the end of the day, it should be gone. I know Caroline carries around this really cool thing that looks like a big weight. And I love seeing that because I know she's hydrating and she's practicing what we all preach, okay? So I want you guys to go along with that as well, too. So keep that water there with you. And here's another little thing. We don't want anyone to get sick in any way, shape, or form. But one of the things that can happen is if you're dehydrated, and should you just get a little sniffle or a cold, or you have an allergy attack because the pollen's horrible right now, staying hydrated is even more important, okay? So please, please, I can't emphasize this enough. Please drink your water. And when we're talking about 64 ounces of water a day, I mean water. That doesn't mean coffee and sodas and that sort of thing. Those do not count. We have to have our water. Very, very important. It's getting hotter outside. If we're going out and taking a walk down by the lake or whatever, please bring your water with you. If you're taking little hikes on the trails, which is wonderful, and I hope you are because it's beautiful out right now, please bring your water bottle with you because we want you to hydrate and we want you to stay healthy. Now, the last thing, just a reminder, therapy is open. We are here for you. So should you, unfortunately, forget to use your step stool, or you lift a box that's just a little too heavy and you strain your neck, your shoulder, or your back, or you feel a little dizzy, please come talk to us in therapy. We are here to help you through all of this that's going on right now, and we can't thank you enough for everything that you're doing to keep us all safe and healthy. And I couldn't think of anywhere I'd rather be right now. So that's it for me today, and I thank you for tuning in and listening, and please stay healthy and strong.